Welcome, one and all, to the third session in this very special business networking masterclass live with my very good friend Peter Russell, who's a business coach, speaker, and mentor. Myself, Gareth Wax. I'm a LinkedIn obsessive, potentially a specialist. And today we're going to be talking about the next session. But before we do that, I think Peter wants to do a recap of just how we got here, the first 3 days, for those of you that may have missed out. Peter, let me hand over to you.
Yes, thank you, Gareth, and good afternoon from sunny England to wherever you are watching us from. Yes, I want to do a recap of the last 2 days because some of you have not been with us for the first 2 days. We are picking up a lot more people watching this literally every day. So this business networking masterclass started on Monday, and our topic was your network is your net worth, where we have talked about in depth how actually your network is the biggest asset you can ever build in your life. And 99% of people out there are not really using it in any way, shape, or form. So we have discussed what does the network really mean, how it's really an aggregated buying power of all of the people represented within it, and 4 different things which networking as an activity can do for you all at the same time, while any other way you would have to do 4 different things. So number 1, you would be gaining your market insight, having your finger on the pulse of the marketplace and knowing what are people looking into, what are they talking about, what are the challenges they are facing, and at the same time, what are they trying to do in order to address them. So knowing all of this makes you extremely powerful in the eyes of your clients, because you can share these insights with them, and this sets you apart from any potential competitor in your space, because they likely would not be able to do this. So that's number 1, having tap on the pulse of the marketplace. Number 2, finding potential buyers. Yes, I know it's the very first thing you can think of when you go into networking event, that, I may find someone there who will buy my product or service, but I urge you to think differently and not look for instant gratification, because it's a very, very short-sighted approach. So simply, yes, you may find buyers, but they may not come in a form you would expect. And simply, you may actually find a buyer who would not actually be buying your product or service. Actually, this person would be buying it on behalf of someone within their network. So you will get connected to your real buyer via someone you will meet. The third thing is finding your ideal suppliers, partners, all sorts of collaborators within your space and beyond, who can actually take your product or service and bolt it on into their offering. It's extremely powerful way of going about your business this way, because you are literally tapping into whole already curated network of potential buyers. You don't need to convince. It's a really good idea to buy from you, because they already have this pre-existing and a really well-working relationship with your potential partner. And number 4 is meeting your people, your future team members,
your tribe.
Yes. Now, not just your tribe, literally people who will be working in your business for you and around you.
Okay.
So it's simply about finding all of those 4 things, doing them all at the same time via one activity, which is called business networking.
So and traditionally, of course, that's been face to face. Then we had this a little bit of the sniffles for a couple of years, and we've come out the other side. And now it's a mixed environment. I know Peter was doing some face-to-face for networking only yesterday. That we commonly do virtual networking, which I think we'll all agree is here to stay.
Indeed.
And each can be effective in different ways, but the fundamental thing is to not just look at the people that you're seeing as one form of potential, but see them as many different types, and not to put limitations on what they could mean to you either now or in the future.
I totally agree. Both of these things are here to stay with us. There's no way in-person networking would ever go away, for one and only reason: the richest and the most successful people do it, and they don't intend to stop. So in-person networking will be your number one activity to do. Treat virtual networking as an extension, which gives you the ability to cross vast distances across this planet and meet anyone, anytime. And it's a complement to your in-person networking. So simply, both of these things are here to stay. You need to use them simultaneously, and they actually very well work with each other. And the same principles, same system applies to both. This is the reason why this event is so powerful. That I'm not talking you through some newest, trendiest thing. This is the evergreen principles, which have been through 50 or 100 years ago, and they're going to be 100% spot on 50 or 100 years ago, 100 years from now on. So take what you learn in here in this masterclass and use it, abuse it, because this is your number one strategy of getting the results you really, really want.
There are techniques that you'll hear in this, some of which will ring true, and you'll think, yes, I'm already doing that. Others of which may be quite foreign to you. And I invite you to see them in the round. You don't need to apply them all the time, but if you see them and you see the opportunities to apply them, I warrant, if you try them, you may surprising yourself with the longevity of the results. A little, a bit of effort now, talking to people that you've never met before and talk to, may lead to amazing connections further down the line.
Yes, and approaching them without any preconditions actually is the only way to see the true opportunity. You can't really set conditions to the life that, oh, I want this, this, and this in precisely this kind of a package, and I want it now. It's not working this way. Simply, you would have to follow the process that will grant you access to these things. It would not be now and here. And even if you have been by some virtue put in a position where you will meet your either dream customer or even the richest person on this planet who has the problem you can solve right now, as of this moment, this person would likely not buy from you because they would miss the number one, relationship building stage, and number two, they would not trust you that simply you have everything it takes to satisfy this need of theirs. So simply, this is what we are talking about here, all 5 days, taking business networking apart and then putting it back together, so you really know what are all of the elements, how they are working together, and how the whole system is actually the only way you can get access to the results you really want. So back to yesterday.
We've had actually good message from, just pop in, from Tom Bennett, who actually took information provided from the first session and applied it to some face-to-face networking at the Institute of Directors yesterday, where he had a good
Fantastic
meeting. and he found that it absolutely helped him. So that's wonderful news. I mean,
Loving it, Tom.
This is what we want to hear.
Absolutely. Fast forward to yesterday. Yesterday we were looking at who is the most valuable person in the room. It's someone very different. You may think, or you may have thought until yesterday, if you watched us. At the same time, there may be a different most valuable person in that room for most of the attendees. But in general, it's not the person who has the connections or the money you want. It's actually the person who is ready and willing to share them with you. It's a critical difference.
Yes, it is. Yes,
so
it is.
Today's topic is about networking toolkit, and the way it's continuing the whole flow is, first of all, having the right understanding on the basis of Monday. All right, why am I networking? What are the potential benefits of doing so? And yes, I really wanted you to come to a conclusion and a decision by the end of Monday's session that yes, I will commit to networking because I see this. I really want to stop going about it the old way, that I will do 4 different things to find 4 different types of people and spend 4 times as much money. I'd rather commit to like proper professional networking, do them all at the same time instead, and get where I really want to be much quicker. Then via really good understanding of what happens in the room, what's the dynamic of the event, what actually happens, and the barriers which a lot of people are facing, especially
Right.
introverts like me. Where I'm. Here we go. Introverts like me are facing barriers, mental barriers, of even entering a networking room full of people because you don't really know what's going to happen. You feel totally out of control. You don't really want to get yourself in a situation you would not know how to get out of. And simply, you are stuck. So yesterday, I have hopefully satisfied all of the and answered all of the potential questions about how to look at the event, how to prepare yourself mentally, and how to actually build a system, which we're going to be talking about today, that would allow you to be efficient in that room, regardless of how many people are in there and who do they represent, whether it's the most important person you can think of, or it's just a, how to say it, just random people who live down the road from you, and you meet them once over a period of time. Let's say it's a group of parents from your kid's school.
Right.
It's equally important type of an event, and you still need to know how to handle these things. So hopefully you'll be able to apply the principles and the knowledge you got from me here over the last 2 days. And today we can look into really building a system for you that would allow you to maximize the effect you can achieve by applying the following steps.
All right. Well, so how do we dive into this? What would you suggest?
Okay, so let's say I have already convinced you to book yourself into a networking event which is happening somewhere, sometime this week.
Okay.
You have already accepted that, okay, it's freaking me out, but I'm going to do this, yeah, because Peter said I can do it. So, all right, you're going through with it.
So my first question is immediately: Are we connected on LinkedIn in this scenario?
Okay, this is an interesting question. As every big job, even efficient networking or effective networking requires use of tools. And LinkedIn is one of the tools you can, and I'm going to be really, I would want to advise you, this is a good way of putting it, to actually start actively using LinkedIn for networking. The reason being,
I would even go so far as to say, I've given up, because I do a small amount of face-to-face networking. As we know, most of it's virtual, a very small amount, mostly with FSB and places like that. I've given up with business cards. My business cards ran out last year, and I don't. Instead, I use LinkedIn using the QR code built into it and the QR code scanner, and
Precisely.
I get them to bring up LinkedIn on their phone. I put LinkedIn on my phone, and when we get to it, I'll show you how to do that. So you can literally go up to people at an event saying, I would very much like to scan your QR code from LinkedIn, and you can tell them how to do it if they're unsure how to do it. It's quick, it's easy, and you've got a much better hook into everything they are, theoretically, by connecting to their LinkedIn profile than you would just by getting a paper card.
Precisely. What's the number one problem you will face after leaving the event?
What, a fistful of cards?
Yes, you will have a fistful of cards, but you wouldn't have a faintest idea who was the person giving you any particular one. So remembering faces and connecting them to those business cards is very difficult, especially if it's a like really large event, 50 plus people.
Absolutely.
Unless you had a really meaningful conversation with this person that you will remember, that would set this person apart from everyone else. It's literally just a pile of cardboard cards, which is absolutely meaningless. And these cards end up in the bin anyway. So you are absolutely part of my tribe. I believe my last business cards have been printed sometime around 2017.
I was eking them out. I very rarely use them, and I got to my last one last year, and I thought, why do I need these?
Yes. So bypass this completely and start using social media, which LinkedIn is one of. Actively and, most importantly, productively. So when you take your phone, open your LinkedIn app, Gareth would love to take you through the process, how it actually looks like.
Now, can you see that? That's reasonably clear. There we go. The top line of it is like as you open it up to LinkedIn. So I've literally just opened it up. First thing you press is the home button, the bottom left. And that will just set you in the right place. You'll notice there's a search bar at the top. I want you to just depress your finger once into the search bar, and it will look something like that. If I hold it up closer, there you can just about see on the top right-hand corner, there's like there's little blocks. Can you see that? White blocks. And when you press on that blocks once, it turns it into a QR code. There we go. There's the QR code. Now, what it actually does is it either presents a QR code, or if you stroke to the left, it turns it into a scanner. If you've never done this before, we'll say, will you allow your phone to be a scanner? And you say yes. But once you've done it, it will do that forever. So what you've got to do is say to a person, I'd very much like to scan your LinkedIn QR code. And they say, well, I don't know how to do it. You say, bring up LinkedIn on your phone, press home, click once in the search bar, click once on the little blocks on the right-hand side, and now you bring up yours, set up to scan, and click, and it's done. And now the two of you are connected on LinkedIn, and you can share each other's information. There's even I always leave myself a little voice note as well to go with it, a voice message to them saying, welcome to my network. I'm glad we met you at this event. And that means they immediately are reminded when they get back by receiving this message, look, oh, there he is there. Voice notes very powerful for that. Not long voice notes, short ones. Just I'm glad we met. Welcome to my network. I'm hoping we can talk again soon. Something as simple as that.
Brilliant. Thank you, Gareth. So the difference between using LinkedIn and business cards is that those who are really not don't want to say like power users of LinkedIn, but who are active users of LinkedIn, they have done their homework and completed their profile because they understand that it's the shopping window everyone would look at. So when you have anyone scan your QR code, it would immediately bring up your profile and they would start reading it to actually know who you are, what is it you're doing, and who are you connected with. An amazing situation happens when you have some connections in common with this person. Because
absolutely, that's when it runs riot. As soon as you've got connection in common, that changes everything.
And this is the conversation starter you really want. Why? Because the person immediately takes initiative, and you are kind of out of the equation, or you are the pressure is lifted off you because the person immediately starts inquiring. Oh, how do you know this person? Where did you meet this lady or this guy? And you don't have to be creative about starting a conversation. It's literally about giving them the opportunity to look into the shopping window and kind of pick and mix what do they want and start a conversation about what they want. So this is 100% delivering on what we have been talking about yesterday, that you want to take an initiative and ask them questions about what did you come to find to this event? Who are you looking to meet? As basic questions, you can start any sort of conversation, because this is the most important reason behind you two even meeting. Why? Because out of hundreds of other events, they have decided to come to this one. So there had to be a reason. Why did they come? And if you will find this reason, you have a really good shot in actually helping them fulfilling the mission of the day and fulfilling this. So either meeting the person or meeting someone who knows someone who can give them something.
Remember, Peter yesterday was talking about the fact that the way to be seen as the most valuable person in the room is to be the person that helps connect people. And if they associate you with that event, with the fact that you're connected, that you can connect to other people, immediately you become even more valuable in their eyes.
Yes, not only valuable, but also memorable. Imagine out of 50 or 100 people in the room on that day, how many faces or how many people you can really remember. So imagine out of 100 people, if they would remember you on the first top 2 spots, it's the ultimate achievement, because you have really maximized the opportunity of being in the room, meeting this person, and do something what would make you memorable. And after this, you have a shot at following up, setting up a meeting, starting another conversation, introducing them with someone, etc., etc. So all of these things, all the real magic will happen long after you are gone from the room. But without you doing the real work in the event, it would never materialize. It would never even come close to happening. So today we are talking about walking into the room and what it actually takes to do the work, do the networking work. I love some of my friends when they are talking, oh, I'm going networking today. And I love actually pulling their leg by asking them, oh, is it because you are not working?
Yeah, all right, fair enough.
So there actually are people out there who would take any opportunity to go networking because that means they don't have to be in the office. And I love those folks as well. They are really, really good fun every time you meet them. However, it is kind of people who are not, what's the right way of putting it, who are not that helpful immediately because they don't have a real desire to do something, to achieve something at this event. Their desire is actually has been fulfilled by disappearing from the office.
No, I totally get that. And some people see that it is a jolly.
Yeah.
And, you know, for some people it is. I remember going to one networking event, which was downstairs in Soho in a Chinese restaurant. And there were these two guys working their way along the finger food, just trying it out one bit after another. And they weren't talking about anything. But the funny thing is, I know those two people, and what's it now, 8-9 years later, they're working together. So in a way, it proved it. Their joint love of picking up free food meant they forged a friendship, and that has now led to a business relationship. All I'm saying is, you can't gainsay or second guess how chance meetings with people, friendly relationships, chatting and finding out about their dogs and their cats and their families and the holidays they've been on. I know this sounds like fluff, but it really helps oil the wheels if you can start a new conversation when you see them for the third time that month and you say, how was the trip to Venice? Did she love it? Mm-hmm. That is an opener. Suddenly their guards come down and they want to talk to you. And then you can start asking them, so what's been on your mind this month? What's been going on? What's been holding you back? They're far more likely to tell you about their pains and their pressures if you've already pulled down all the shutters or lifted up all the shutters. They're more likely to talk to you. And there are better and worse ways of using LinkedIn after the event to follow up. And I thought it would be a useful thing if we merged onto the follow-up. I don't know if you want to do that now, but the follow-up.
We would look into this tomorrow. This is actually the essential part of relationship building. So
right.
Let's leave it out.
I'm jumping the gun. You see, I'm far too excited about these things.
You are indeed. But hey, it is an exciting topic. So you have come to an event. You have embarked on this journey of starting conversations with people and start establishing relationships. Right. One thing, if you don't want to be not working, is you're really going to be working hard. And the reason why you need to be working hard is that you have this window of opportunity where you have FaceTime with all of the people who have taken the opportunity and made the effort to turn up. You need to really work the room. And I'm not talking this in a negative way. A lot of people who don't really understand what this means take this as a very negative thing. Like, oh yeah, you need to work the room, and everything was associated with this.
I'm then thinking about my little story of the man walking around the room trying to shove his business cards into everybody's hands.
Yes.
That's not what you mean by working the room.
Precisely. It's not like you need to try to sell everyone in the room something just to make sure you kind of don't have to succumb to FOMO and say, oh, maybe if I had spoken to this person who had left just before I jumped on him or her, maybe they would have bought. Yeah? So it's literally working the room means taking very focused approach and maximizing the amount of opportunities you can pick up in this room. So coming to a person, introducing yourself, finding out, and it's really quick, finding out what is it or who is it, did they come to meet at this event, what's the biggest challenge they are facing in whatever they're trying to achieve, and who would be or what would be the thing they could imagine that would help them overcome it. If you would ask those actually 4 questions, you have everything you need from this person and you can move on. It's also, and don't think of this as being rude, you are standing in a circle or you're simply in a massive group of people which keeps moving and it's a buzz. It's not like you need to just walk out on someone. Simply introduce yourself, ask those things, have 2, 3, 5-minute conversation, and then bridge this conversation to someone else. Ask, oh, how about you? And try to compare these things, those reasons why the other person next to you who's listening all the time, bring them into conversation. And while you are doing so, don't hesitate using your phone, bring up the LinkedIn QR code and have them scan it. Remember, it doesn't work from LinkedIn only. They can use their camera as a QR scanner. It will bring up your profile regardless.
And another thing which I just realized, you can send, there's an option there where share my code. So you can in fact share it to them to their email address so they could pick it up later. So if they don't have the wherewithal or they're not really interested with it, that's not a problem. You can literally send them the code and they pick it up then. It's just a quick and easy way to make headway, really.
Yes,
that's all it is.
Gonna set you apart from everyone else. And number 2, you are fulfilling the second step of the system we are building here. So number 1, going in with the aim of, I don't get overwhelmed, or I will not get overwhelmed by what's happening in the room because I am in full control of what will happen. You literally will not allow anything else to happen besides what you have set yourself to do. If you will move in 5-minute cycles from person to person, there literally won't be any time for them to ask you some tricky questions, put you in a spot, or literally make you feel awkward or uncomfortable. What will happen, you would literally be fulfilling or executing a plan you have set for yourself. And simply in the execution of the plan, second step is data collection. It's an absolute must. If you would walk into a room full of people and walk out without names, phone numbers, email addresses, I'm really sorry, but you don't know how to use the opportunity.
And you've wasted your time, because although they may remember you, and I want to talk a little bit about personal branding. I know I don't know much about personal branding, but you don't have to go as far as maybe as ridiculous extremes as I have. But just the shape of you, the way you look, the kind of glasses you wear, the way you dress, all of this will
hairstyle.
Absolutely. We go to the same barber. But the point is that it will create an image on them. And do you know what? The first time, and they say this, don't they? The first meeting is the one that stays with me. First impressions literally last. And yes, I know people say, oh, I'm open to change. As soon as I hear new information, I forget. They don't. The first impressions last. What they want to see, and I have to say this, I can't state this more strongly, a smile and attentive, and the act of using your ears twice as much as your mouth. Ask them a question and let them pour their heart out to you and nod and take note and listen for the keywords and find out what it is that they are about, what drives them, who they really are as a person. And then when you're taking that information with your LinkedIn process, as we talked about before, and I'll tell you what, Peter, right at the end, before we finish, I'll go through that again, just in case anybody missed it. But we'll match it up. You want them to remember you. You want them to match that up with the person who sent them the voice note on their LinkedIn, having just connected to them. So when they get back to the office or when they get home or whatever, and they check in, let me listen to that. Oh, yes, I remember him. He's that buffoon in the hat and the bow tie. But the point is, you make a connection. And if you don't take the data, as Peter says, you're wasting your time.
I'm laughing now because you have just reminded me of something. When I said that you can have everything under control from first minute to the very last one by literally asking the questions, getting the answers, and do not hesitate to make notes. Like literally, as the person is speaking, make notes. Either make yourself a voice note or write down something. Make sure you remember these things. So because this is the gems you will need later on down the road. But the point which made me laugh was when you want to get out of a potentially awkward situation or under pressure that you would not have to answer or talk about yourself, ask a question and understand that this person may actually feel even more insecure than you are.
Absolutely.
And by talking about themselves, they are trying to
relieve it.
No, not believe it. They are trying to address the shortcoming.
Okay.
So simply, they are talking about themselves. It's stuff they know because they don't know about the topic you may be interested in. So they are talking about themselves. And they are compensating that way. So by you actually giving them an opportunity to do so, you are alleviating pressure off their shoulders and putting them at ease. And this is the thing which makes the biggest difference. If you would literally get them on the spot in a like really deep technical conversation or anything like this, they would feel really awkward, often out of their depth, and it's not a good base for any follow-ups, anything. But if you will allow them, give them space to talk about themselves, and you would really listen and make notes, they would feel like, oh, this is a very different person. When the time comes, 2, 3, 5 minutes later, you ask the similar question the person next to this one and give them the get out of jail free card, because they don't have to do this forever and actually feel again uncomfortable by having to talk about themselves for half an hour. You are managing all of these things in an amazing way, and you would be really, really appreciated by a lot of people. And while you are doing so, this is the thing. This is the part which made me laugh. You're going to be like a penguin of Madagascar, smile and wave. Literally,
I've got a special word, which everybody knows, but I find is very useful in these circumstances. Often they feel like you can see they're running out of steam, and they almost want take this conversation off me. I want you to start now. And so what you do is you wait for a natural pause in the conversation, and you say this one word, and this word is absolutely. What you do is they said, so I've been working on this, and I'm really looking to meet up with people talking about X, Y, and Z, but I don't know which way. And obviously I want to meet new people here, and so you wait for a pause. You go, absolutely. Let me take you to meet this guy over here that I know is really well connected, and I think he'll be able to help you get on that journey. How does that sound to you? Instantly, you'll see the relief fill up on their eyes. Yes. Someone's listened to them. And also the other tip is, if they've said a bunch of different things and you want to ask them a question about that, try and use some of the words they actually said in the question you ask them back, because that shows immediate cognition of the point they were making. Thomas jumped in and said he was definitely best dressed in the room. He got a handful of cards, get out a scannable card. You can see how my event will be better. I made a connection because of my new Panama hat. So you see, personal branding, once again. He had a beautiful Panama hat, and people were, of course, drawn to it, as they will be to any decent-looking man wearing a hat.
Yes. One more thing which it will give you a lot more depth into on what we are talking about here now. I have been in a situation at an event, one of many, where I have been mistaken for a host, where simply a group of 6 people was around me, and we've been introducing ourselves to each other, and simply I have been asking those questions to everyone. Who did you come to meet? Who are you looking for, etc., etc.? And a stranger comes by, and as a person is coming, I'm literally nearly grabbing this person and say, "Hey, come join us," and opening this circle to this person to actually join the conversation. And instant response was, no, I'm looking for a bar. Do you know how can I get there? And at this situation, I did something what blew my mind, and everyone was like, "Whoa, where is this guy coming from?" So what happened was, I was like, "Okay, my name is Peter. Your name is, I am Tom. Okay, Tom, welcome to this conversation. Have you met any of these people yet?" And he says, "No." "Okay, this is Philip. He's a property developer. This is Emmanuel. She's a real estate agent. This is Catherine. She's a finance lady. And they are looking for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So literally, I have opened the whole circle to this person, started a conversation, and I asked, "Okay, so I need to go to the toilet. So let me get you a drink because it's right next to the bar. What is it you're drinking?" So I have introduced this person into the group, started a conversation by, number one, demonstrating that I have been listening to every single one of these people, who they are, what do they do, what's their name, what they are looking for, and made a grand entry for this person where I had the opportunity to actually disappear from the circle, which I have spent the last 10 minutes in. Went to the bar, bought a drink for Tom, brought it back to him, said, "Brilliant, I'll speak with you later," and moved on to the next group of people. So this is the way you can handle situations in a way which totally blows minds of everyone in the room, because no one really does it.
Well, it's because what you're doing is you're showing yourself to be a super connector. And
Yes.
anyone who knows anything about this will realize the super connectors should be the backbone of your personal network. Because in the event that you want a chicken sexer from Norfolk, you're the one who's most likely to know them, because you are often connected to them. And
Precisely.
even if you're not connected to them, you're probably connected to a farmer who knows one. So the point about this is the super connectors are the ones that will help you find your way. The other thing is, taking that approach makes the person that you're introducing to the group feel special, and it helps them remove some of that innate fear that would otherwise be holding them back and making them feel like a shy, retiring person. Suddenly, they have you. What you've done is you've done a good summarizing job of everyone's positions in there, and say this one's a lawyer, this one's an IP specialist, this one over here deals with voice, this person over here builds retirement homes, and you're a specialist in copywriting. Well, I'm sure you'll have a great conversation. I'm going to go and get you a drink. What do you want? And I'll be back in 5 minutes. That very element, you've almost floated them in there and made them feel like they're already part of something, a special something.
Exactly. And that's your ticket out of this group, being stuck in this circle for too long, because you have already spoken with everyone, introduced yourself, you had them scan your LinkedIn code. And this is the critical difference, because you have the ability to scan someone else's and have people scan yours. What is the difference? The main difference between them scanning your code is that they are sending their request to you. Therefore, you are in the position by design to accept this. If it was the other way, you are sending a connection request to them, and it is up to them to accept, which often happens days, weeks, often months later, after the event. You don't want that. So the professionals do, and I use this excuse, and this is probably the thing which people would be throwing back at me, but it is true that in a week you can only have 100 connections to on LinkedIn. 100 new connections you can add. If you try to do more, LinkedIn is going to stop you. So I use an excuse of, I'm really sorry, I already run out of my connection requests this week. Please scan my code. And everyone's like, okay, fine, I'm going to scan yours. So simply, this is how I create.
Sneaky. This
is how I am creating a situation by design where they are sending a connection request to me. Therefore, it is down to me to actually accept it. And I am then in full control of what happens next. And this is why it's important to have a system and understand what will happen step by step from the moment you are even thinking of going networking to finding an event, booking yourself, preparing yourself mentally for what will you do when you walk into the room, all the way to literally years down the road from the moment when you have left the room, because this system would allow you to actually maximize the impact of this activity. So when you are in this situation, people are scanning your code and you have all of the details. Just understand what is it you are given. They are sending a connection request to you. When you accept it, you have the person's face, you have person's job description, where they are working, who are they connected with, where they have been working before, their most likely email address and phone number. All of the data is in LinkedIn, at least most of it. And it's exactly the same thing you would have had on your business card. So simply with scanning the LinkedIn code or having them scanning your LinkedIn code, you are getting all of that data which you would have had on business card and a gazillion more. This is the ammo for your future fight, or actually this is your assets for follow-up to build the relationship later, long after you will leave the room. Without it, you stand very little chance. One more thing, what I want you to do as well, when you are in a group and you are about to leave, take your phone and make a selfie with all of them.
So like this with them in the background?
Yes. So the reason why you need to take a selfie technically with every single person, not take a group, 3, 4, 5 people, and every group you're going to have probably 7 to 10 or 15 photos for that evening. The next steps after you are leaving the event, and this is the most critical bit, sales professionals swear by follow-up. So what do you need to do when you are leaving the event? If you are sitting in a taxi, in a train, wherever, go through this LinkedIn, go into notifications, accept every single connection request and write a message which you can actually have pre-written somewhere on a notepad. Just copy paste, but don't forget to include their name, which is, good evening, Gareth. It was absolute pleasure meeting you at this particular event. I really loved our conversation. Let's catch up sometimes later this week or next one. Just let me know your availability, or you don't even ask for availability. Just say them. It was amazing. I really loved our conversation. Looking forward to catching up with you. And if you will do it right after the event, either they would respond to you with another message the same evening or next day, which would be, oh yes, it was perfect, I loved it as well, and simply you are already in the process of continuing the conversation. It doesn't stop. This is the biggest mistake people make. When you go networking, you get 20 business cards. By the time you will get to send a person an email follow-up, there's days. People forget. You don't want that. This is why you can actually use LinkedIn for the instant follow-up and have a first steps of the conversation out of the way, technically the same day. It's critical for relationship building because you have not only demonstrated in the event that you are ready and open to listen, you are attentive, and also you remember, you follow up. This sets you apart miles from any of your competitors or even anyone in that room this evening. So simply go in there, start your conversation, introduce yourself, ask those questions, connect on LinkedIn. And one thing is, if you are not on LinkedIn, or if people are not LinkedIn, if the other person is not on LinkedIn, you can actually do anything else. The key is to connect with them on their favorite social media platform. So if it's Instagram, find it. Guess what? In settings, you have a QR code for Instagram.
Absolutely.
Same thing. Open WhatsApp, go to settings, your profile, you have QR code for WhatsApp. You can do this. Exchange numbers, exchange details, connect. And if you are connecting on WhatsApp, for example, Gareth, do the same thing. Open your phone, go into WhatsApp settings, and in your profile, show people the QR code, how it actually looks like.
Oh gosh. Sorry. No, it was in the middle of something earlier, so it's got all sorts of stuff over the screen. Settings, QR code. There we go.
Yeah. So this is your WhatsApp.
You literally go to settings. It doesn't actually say QR code. Top right-hand corner, there's like a little diagram in green of a QR code. You click on that, and that's what you can show to people. So if their favorite way of communicating might not be, so if they say to you, well, I don't really use LinkedIn, you could say WhatsApp, Instagram. What's your favorite method of communication?
Precisely.
And if it's WhatsApp and Instagram as well, I believe, you can show the appropriate QR code and blink, you're connected. One thing I would say, and I've found this very effective, and this works very well on LinkedIn. After you've been to an event, if it's an event, I usually write a little summary thanking the provider of that event. Thank you so much for the event. And I tag in the people I met into the note. Mm-hmm. So I say, I met all these wonderful people, da-da-da-da, 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 da-da-da. And if you are really on it, you could say this person, lawyer, this person, dentist, this person, whatever, candlestick maker, whatever it is.
Yeah,
but the whole point but it is, you are showing cognition, and you're setting the store ready so that when you write them a personal follow-up, whether by email, Instagram, LinkedIn, carrier pigeon, I don't care what it is, however you get back in contact with them the next time round, theoretically, you're more likely to rise to the top like cream because they'll remember you. That's the essence of this.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
This is it. So follow people on their social media, because when this happens, when you will establish a connection, let's go back to LinkedIn. When you connect with someone on LinkedIn, you, Gareth, will know how long exactly it will take when your full access to these people's content will vanish or get downgraded. So I believe it's like 3 days or something like this, where for the next 3 days, you will see all of their recent posts in your feed. So you have a unique window into their world to get to really know these people. What are they looking into? What is the type of content they are engaging with? And you can comment on those same things so they can actually see you like appearing in their world and not just sending an email or a text message or something like this. So simply comment on their posts, do things that will make you a permanent feature in their world. If you have connected with them on WhatsApp, you can send them the selfie you have taken with them.
Right.
First thing, what would be first message from you would not be anything anonymous, would be the picture you have taken together, and underneath the picture would be the same message you would have sent on LinkedIn. Hey, it's been great event, absolute pleasure meeting you. I loved our conversation. Let's catch up.
Okay. Do you know what? I have to say, we're coming to the end of this session. We've got 4 minutes to run, but I just wanted to say, I think some of the tips that we've been giving out today have been top value. Tom has a question for you. Let me put it up.
Oh, okay. Let's go.
If you're on your own, how do you approach a group who are talking in a circle without looking like you're barging in? That's one of my biggest issues. I think we sort of covered that the other day. So, but
how would you handle this, Gareth?
Well, I'm rude.
Okay.
So what I do is I stand on the sidelines looking like I'm not interested. I wait for a natural lull in conversation, pretend like a little trip forward. Oh, so sorry. Hi, I'm Gareth. I couldn't help overhearing that you were talking about open heart surgery. I'm really interested in that. And by the way, I'm Gareth. I'm a LinkedIn thingy. If we can talk about that later, but do tell me about all the issues are ahead of you this week. What's going on for you? So that's how I normally do it. Yes. Oh, hello. That sort of thing. Because I'm an affable fool, so they people just smile and laugh and bring me into the circle. But how would you do it, Peter?
Okay, one of the best ways for me was literally coming in and say, good evening, everyone. I'm really sorry, but you are the loudest group here. You are having too much fun. You have to be reported.
Okay. So it's a basic humor. That's basically it.
Yes, literally. You have to say something silly what would get their attention. And also it would give them a reason why you are approaching them, because you see them as having too much fun. You want to have fun as well, so you want to naturally join. It kind of gives them a feeling of appreciation that someone's interested in them, and at the same time sets them apart because they are having like real fun together. So this is one of the first things I would try doing, and it works most of the time, where simply I'm coming in on the basis of this is like the loudest group here. I like it. I have to be part of this, and I hope you guys don't mind. By the way, my name is Peter, and I really want to know what's your name. And I'll ask first person right next to me what's his or her name, and then next one, and then technically I have taken over the conversation, which I will also come back to and say, I'm sorry for this rude interruption. What have you been discussing just before I joined you? But often you don't even need to do this, because most of the time, as you're moving from group to group to group, these groups tend to either get stuck in a conversation which will last for way too long. And even if you will come in, introduce yourself, get all of the data, and you would leave, they may continue, because they are those types of people who are uncomfortable going around the room, so they will get stuck with one or two people and spend all evening talking about something. So just leave them at their game. You don't need to try to convert them into something else. But
you know what? I think people need to get out their brains. You never need to convert someone to your point of view. Never need to try and take them down a peg. You never need to correct them. You never need to set them straight. There's never any need for that. If they have a different point of view of yours, that's fine. You agree to disagree, and then find something else you can talk about, or speak to other people. You're not in the business. You're not a teacher. You're not a trainer. This is not, all you're trying to do is get to know people and for them to get to know you. The last thing you need to be doing is bringing any form of negativity into this. If you feel there's negativity there and that sort of thing, move away from it. You don't need negativity. You're here to create a positive experience and a positive relationship. I know it sounds silly. By the way, we just got a heart from Nick Blanchard, who is
okay.
the head honcho of a great network called Zuko, ZOCO, Zoom over Coffee, an excellent place to go if you want to practice virtual networking, very accepting. But obviously, and they have some face-to-face networking too. Very relaxed.
It's not just virtual, yes.
That's true. I do apologize, Nick. So the point about this is you need safe spaces like that if you're new to this. Don't pick hard ones like a cruise where you're going to be stuck on with a bunch of people for half a day if you're not certain how you're going to deal with a room full of people you've never met. Try and go somewhere where you know it's all affable and all friendly and low pressure. Find your feet there, and then move yourself to a slightly harder one. And maybe if you're really want to push yourself, end up going to a BNI. But that's for another day.
All right. I believe it's time to finish this wrap up.
So all it remains for me to do is thank you, Peter, for those absolute emeralds and nuggets of pearls, amazing wisdom, and thank all of you for attending. I know not all of you have made yourself, but some of you have, and I appreciate that. Tom has got a final note. He's going to try that next time round.
Wonderful. Looking forward to hear about the results.
Tom, you never have to be anything more than enjoying yourself. And if you're not enjoying yourself, don't make it a strain. Just make it something that you just using it as an attempt just to find out more about other people. So it's our old meme. You use your 2 eyes, 2 ears, 1 mouth, and use the proportion.
I wanted to say here that by you actually entering a conversation, you may be the most welcome relief for people who want to leave but don't know how. So by you entering, breaking the whole flow, they have actually an amazing opportunity to say, you know what, I'm going to go to the toilet, whatever, but they would have been really shy to do this while the conversation was going. So see yourself as not as an interruption, but also as a blessing for a lot of people out there. And I had people come to me and thank me for rescuing them from very lengthy conversations they didn't really want to continue in, but simply it is what will naturally happen. So don't be afraid of it.
I find these sessions so useful, reaffirms knowledge I've already learned 2 or 3 new items about just how to deal with follow-ups that I wasn't exactly doing today, which I'm going to try out. It would be useful if any of you give feedback when you're writing comments later on how you find this and whether or not you've been able to apply any of it. But until tomorrow, and then what is tomorrow's session going to be about?
Tomorrow is relationship building secrets. It's literally what happens once you're gone from the event, how to follow up, how to forge those relationships over time so they are really productive, not just, someone I met. They probably don't remember me anyway.
And also one thing I would say is if you know someone who might benefit from any of these, tell them to look back. They'll be on my YouTube, there's on my Facebook, they're on the top of my LinkedIn profile, they'll be in Peter's LinkedIn profile and on Peter's Facebook. So they're all over the place. And also, please do give comments. We love a bit of feedback.
Also, if you have missed previous sessions, go to businessnetworkingmasterclass.com/register and you can book yourself get yourself a VIP access to this session. You will get all the recordings for lifetime. You can join a Zoom call for VIPs, which is going to start in a few minutes, and this session had exhausted its time and topic. So I'll see you in the VIP session or in a few minutes, or I'm going to see you here tomorrow for relationship building secrets.
Thank you for your time, everyone. And goodbye, good night, and see you tomorrow.